What's the dumbest thing you've ever done for absolutely no reason? We were driving to a restaurant and wanted to see how long the wait was. My dad handed me the phone book and asked me to look up the number. I, for whatever reason, thought he said, "Get rid of this." So I opened the window and chucked the phone book while we were going 70 miles an hour down the highway. That was over 10 years ago. I still get crap for it. Yeah, I mean, if somebody hands me a phone book while we're driving, the first thing I automatically think is, oh, I should probably just chuck this. I jumped up and successfully bit the string that is used to pull the attic door down. It had a metal bead on it. Immediately after, I remember thinking, holy crap, I actually got it in my mouth and broke the string. Then I realized the string was still there, but half my front tooth wasn't. As the best man at my wedding said, the attic string went fishing for idiots and caught one. I mean, it's bad enough when you're already just doing weird stuff when you're by yourself, but you're like, nobody's watching, I'll just do this because why not? But then if you actually get hurt doing it, you're trying to explain how you got hurt, and people are like, and why did you do that? I microwaved a single Cheeto. I kind of wonder what that would do. Maybe it'd make it more crispy. One time I was eating a lemon poppy seed muffin. The phone rang, so I reacted by shoving the entire muffin in my mouth and eating it as fast as I could, nearly choking to death, and I didn't even make it to the phone before it stopped ringing. Why did I do that? Yeah, it gets a little hard to talk on the phone when your mouth is full anyway. Someone asked me what time it was, and I lifted the rotation on my wrist so I could look at my watch. I was holding an iced tea and just poured the whole thing into my lap. I wasn't wearing a watch. I didn't even own a watch. Never have. Well, at least now you know the time. It's time to take a bath. My dad was sleeping on the couch, and I happened to be holding an avocado. Without giving it a second thought, I chucked the avocado at his head for no reason. It plonked right off his forehead, woke him up of course, and he was so furious he couldn't look at me for the rest of the day. I was like 11 years old, and my dad has a temper. The moment it left my hand, I knew my life was ending, so I just helplessly watched it sail into his sleeping face. You know, I think all of us get those weird impulses in our brains when you're, like, let's say you're standing next to somebody, and you're like, what if I just punch this person in the face for no reason? But you're supposed to just kind of ignore those thoughts. Maybe not the dumbest, but a recent one on my mind. I was in my office with the door closed, got up from my desk to walk out, and knocked on the door before opening it and walking into the hallway. Hey, I guess it's just the polite thing to do, even though nobody's gonna hear it. Sometimes I blow on my ice cream before I take a bite. I have no idea why. Yeah, I think your brain is just telling you the temperature of the thing you're about to put in your mouth is very different from the temperature of your mouth. And blowing on it is really the only way we know how to sometimes deal with that. As a kid, my parents would tell me to go brush my teeth. And being the stupid kid that I was, I would go to the bathroom and lock the door, leave the water running, wet my toothbrush, and rinse my mouth to make it look like I was brushing my teeth, along with squeezing tiny blobs of toothpaste to make it look used. And I would rub the toothbrush across my arm to make the brushing noises, while eating mints to make my breath seem legit. All in all, this process took more time and effort than actually brushing my teeth. Yeah, but what's the fun in just doing what you're told? I stuck my hand in a bowl of soup, simply because I hadn't before. Well, I guess there is a first for everything. I told my wife she has an anger issue. It just came out, like 10 minutes ago. We weren't even fighting. Guess what? She's freaking pissed right now. Well, I guess you were right. When I was maybe 10 or 12, I threw one of my dad's golf clubs that had no head on it, like a spear, down the hallway after telling my brother it would be cool. The result was a golf club hanging out of a hole in the wall, and an extremely grounded me. Yet considering it's kind of rare to do anything that puts holes in the wall, sometimes you don't even really think about that when you're about to do something crazy. But then after it happens, you're like, oh yeah. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, I threw a piece of pie into my neighbor's yard. Turns out my neighbor was in her yard. She came and knocked on my door why a piece of pie flew out of nowhere and almost hit her. Strangest thing I got in trouble for. Hey, sometimes you just need to throw some pie, I guess. I went to a coffee shop and ordered a large cup of coffee. The barista hands it to me, and I put it into my purse with no lid. Man, I'm really glad I don't have to be the one to clean up the messes for all these stories. I put my finger into a handheld blender and turned it on to see if I could stop the blades from spinning. I couldn't, and it chewed up my finger. I was 21. Yeah, maybe you need to see a psychiatrist. Me and my brothers would tie ropes to each other and run in opposite directions. Did it to trees, too. I tried to bungee jump from a tree with just a regular old rope. That one hurt pretty bad. You know, it's kind of amazing how some people survive as long as they do. I chopped an aerosol paint can in half with an axe. I was far old enough to know better, but my cousin and I thought we had it worked out. My mom always said, 1 kid, 1 brain. 2 kids, no brains. Boy, was she right. I was yellow for a week. That had to be one explosive piñata. When I was 10, I saw this cool magic trick where you soaked a dollar bill in rubbing alcohol, and the alcohol burns off, and your dollar bill stays intact. So stupid 10-year-old me was home alone one day, when my mom left me $20 to order food, which I ended up soaking it in rubbing alcohol and burning it, causing it to disintegrate into ash immediately. I mean, you couldn't have at least just tried it with a $1 bill first? Yesterday I was using a nail gun on the trim around the window of my house. Being the idiot that I am, I decided to see what would happen if I shot a penny. The nail ricocheted off the penny, shot past my head, and ended up in the fridge behind me. Close call. Hey Faye, what's the weirdest thing you've ever done for no reason? What reason does a cat ever have to just be weird? I used to drink cans of soda by stabbing them with a pushpin/thumbtack. If I had just pulled it out, there would be a stream of wasted soda. So I would pull the tack out with my teeth while creating a seal with my lips. One time I accidentally swallowed the tack. One emergency room visit and a few x-rays later, I was sent home to dig through my poo. I was 14. Geez, that sounds like a really expensive little trick. When I was little, I threw my ballet shoes into a toilet I just peed in. I have no idea why. I then ran to my mom, who couldn't decipher through my hysterical crying what was going on. To this day, I still have no idea why I did it, but I remember feeling that I had to do it. Hey, I mean, if you want to quit ballet, there's probably easier ways to do it. I once picked a guy's pocket and put it back just to see if I could do it without getting caught. I didn't get caught. It was the single dumbest thing I've ever done in my life, considering how bad it could have gone if I had gotten caught. Yeah, I've kind of had that feeling before too, where you're just like, this would be so easy to steal. Not that I want to steal it, but it'd be interesting to just see if I could. When I was a wee boy, I woke up early before everyone, went down to the kitchen, grabbed a chair, brought it to the fridge, and took the small metal pencil sharpener from the top. I decided to sharpen my pinky first thing in the morning so I can have a sharp finger. I ended up waking the parents up and bleeding profusely. Well, it is very tempting when it does fit in there just right. So packing up the car and just completely forgot to grab the last suitcase and put it in the car. It was apparently just sitting on the sidewalk for the 2 days I was gone. Well, you must live in a nice neighborhood if it was still there when you came back. I tried to put out a candle by covering it with a Kleenex. I'm sure that if you did that fast enough, it would probably work fine. I boiled a lot of pasta, then poured the water and the noodles down the drain. Hey, I do that all the time too, but it's usually not on purpose. I have an amazing ability to pick up almost any bug carefully and efficiently without hurting them. So when I first discovered this, when I was about 5 or 6, I went and collected 44 ants, got some dirt, and made my own ant colony. In my room, under my bed. Oh, I bet your mom was really happy when she found that. I angrily thwacked my laptop when the internet went out for the 10th time, and I was trying to do my homework. Turns out I hit it where the hard drive was, and it never worked again. Lost the homework I was trying to do. Well that was all of the stories for this one, but they were so short that let's just go through another thread. So now moving on to part 2, we have, what is one of the dumbest things you've done while your brain was on autopilot? I was brushing my teeth and went to throw something away, but ended up spitting all over the floor instead. Yeah, I feel like these stories are going to be about the same as all those last ones. I wake up in the middle of the night to take a pee, then just autopilot it into my morning routine. It wasn't until after I drank my coffee that I realized it was only 3 a.m. and that I wasn't going to be able to go back to sleep. Yeah, that's such a disorienting feeling when you wake up at a time that you normally don't, because like your whole perception of what time it is just gets thrown out the window. I've gotten in my car on the weekends to go somewhere and gone on autopilot and realized it as I'm pulling into my work's parking lot. I'm like, why the heck did I drive to work? Yeah, I used to go the same way when I would drive to work as when I would drive to my parents' house. So whenever it would come to that fork, I'm like, wait, which way am I going again? I put my dirty plate in the freezer instead of the dishwasher. Yeah, I feel like the freezer is the one place in the world that it will never clean anything. I mean, you could put it in the oven or the microwave, it would probably clean off at least a little bit. I went to the gym, walked right past the desk where you check in and get a locker key, walked into the locker room, stood in front of a locker, and was absolutely puzzled about what to do next. The gears were turning there for a little bit, and then they just stopped at one point. I went inside a gas station, paid, then drove off. Twice. Didn't even fill up, just drove away. So what do they do with the gas after that then? Does the next person just get it? I used the key fob from my car to lock my refrigerator. Yeah, I don't know either. You know, whenever people zone out and just do weird stuff like this, isn't that a sign that they've been too stressed out? I was a kitchen employee at Arby's when I was 18. We used to have sub rolls that were foot long, but the only subs we sold were 6-inch. So you had to cut each roll in half before you used it. I was just zoned out one day, and I ended up cutting the sub roll in half, putting the knife back in the sub-roll bag, and then tried to use the sub-roll to cut the next sandwich. My manager saw it and freaking died. Well, that wasn't very nice to just kill your manager like that. I waited at a stop sign for 5 minutes thinking it was a red light. I was not on my phone. I didn't hold anybody else up, luckily. Yeah, I don't know why, but whenever I'm on night walks, I just always see people that pull up to stop signs and then just sit there for a long time. I was working fast food and taking orders both inside and for the drive-thru. I took someone's order inside at the counter and told them to pull forward to the second window. See, if that were me, I'd be so confused, like actually trying to take the order and be like, what window? A couple weeks ago, I was driving home, but instead of going to my current house, I drove to my old house. I haven't lived there in over 5 years. I pulled into my driveway, and luckily I realized what I had done before I had actually gotten out of the car. Yeah, that's always a fun one to explain. I promise I wasn't breaking and entering, I'm just an idiot. Early morning, I was about to put my mouthwash on my toothbrush, but I caught myself and I was like, nice try, brain, and put them back. Then I grabbed the toothpaste and squeezed it on my palm. Yeah, maybe you're better off just going back to sleep. I flipped my Kindle over to read the other side of a document. Welcome to the future. My brother ordered nachos at a Mexican restaurant, grabbed a chip, and proceeded to watch himself dip it into his tea. After about 2 dips, he came back into reality, shook his head, and went, "What?" My mother is an EMT. After a 24-hour shift, she came home and tried to unlock the front door with her car keys button, and did that for about 5 minutes. I once drove to work when I was supposed to drop my younger brother off at school. Neither of us seemed to notice until we got to my workplace and I had to turn around. He was late. Now, out of the 3 of these, which are you most likely to do? I'd say probably driving to the wrong place. I tore open a sugar packet, poured it directly into the trash, tossed the empty paper packet into my coffee. Ooh yeah, the paper's the best part of that. You don't want any of that white stuff to go in your drink. I put a dog biscuit into the washing machine instead of a detergent pod. I realized before turning it on, so I was able to recover it. Yeah, I wonder what that would do to your clothes, just having a dog biscuit just disintegrate all over your clothes. When I was a brand new mom on maternity leave, but still trying to juggle law school and a newborn, my sister-in-law had an emergency and had to leave her Boston Terrier with me. Even though he was a very well-behaved dog and had met the baby, we still kept them separated just in case. One morning, after my husband left for work, I picked up the baby out of the bassinet and walked downstairs to make coffee. My husband had forgotten something and promptly came right back in to find me at the counter, brewing coffee, rocking a black and white dog in one arm, while our son's still quietly chilling in his bassinet upstairs. He took the day off from work and I went back to sleep. Yeah, I'd probably do something similar with this little monster. Are you finally ready to get down? Nope. I had a drink in my hand and dumped it out because I checked the time on my watch. Hey, we got the same story in 2 different threads, now we can say that they are very well linked. Not me, but one time my girlfriend got handed her drink at Starbucks, said thanks, went over to the bar to get cream or something, and immediately dropped her fresh drink straight into the trash can at the bar. Her mother and I just looked at her and started laughing. The barista saw what happened, and with a "it happens" attitude, agreed to replace the drink. It also helped that no one was in there except us. We still bring it up every now and then and all laugh, my girlfriend included. Well, I guess it's good that the barista saw her do it. Imagine going up and be like, "Hey, can I get a new replacement drink?" I accidentally just threw my other one away. I don't know why. I let a coffee machine run without a jug under it. Went to take a shower and had to clean up the mess afterwards. Yeah, it sounds like you might need to take another shower afterwards. I shook my phone to see how full the battery was. Oh yeah, how much juice is left in there? I do so much dumb stuff while on autopilot, and it doesn't help that I'm on autopilot more often than not. I've thrown away so many spoons and forks, then had to dig in the trash to get them back out. I threw away my phone instead of the trash more times than I care to mention. Where are my keys? Where are my keys? Oh, that's right, they're in the fridge, 'cause F you, that's why. I've thrown away something I was eating. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? In the closet on the top shelf, underneath a stack of papers, 'cause F you, that's why. Yeah, not too long ago I had a bag of trash to throw away just like out in my dumpster outside, and I opened the lid and just tossed my keys in there instead. I have learned the hard way that if you hold money in one hand, you never have trash in the other. It is impossible to throw the correct item away. Whew, wow, I have never read so many short stories in one video. I mean, I know they were short and the video's probably not that long, but man, it's hard to have something to say about every single one. But I guess some of the funnier autopilot stories that I have from recently was, so I was cooking a hamburger on the stove. You know, I flipped it over and I put the cheese on it, and for some reason I just poured ketchup on the burger while it was still on the stove cooking. Luckily I didn't have to flip it again, so it didn't turn out horribly, but I'm like, wait, why did I just do that? And then when I went to turn the stove off, I flicked the light switch off, so I was just standing in the dark. But anyway, this is going to be one beast of a video to edit now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for more stupid things people say.